And so by government camp, Mount Hood, Oregon, a girl, I have her name in the other thing, I'm not going to say her name on this, but two females backed up into my car and they come out of that bar. I walked in and used the restroom beforehand. I believe that I'm very confident I'd seen them with a burger and a beer at a table in the bar, and no police in the area. They did not want to give me their information, did not have their information on them, and were laughing about it and yelling. And what happened is I was on the opposite side of the road. I backed into the lane that's on my side of the road, which is going, towards Sandy and Portland, Oregon. And they were in a Chevy Trailblazer. I was in a Camry. They backed across the other lane and into me while I was in the lane I was supposed to be in, just as I'm putting it into from reverse into drive. And I look through the window. I'm like, no, and they just banged back into me. Clearly, we're not looking over their shoulder. Clearly, a reckless thing. Number one, even if they were sober, it was reckless and careless. But more importantly, I don't think that they were sober. Based by their behavior, which was called in the 911 call, they were laughing and in that drunk girl way. They were laughing and they were yelling at me. Clearly, if you get into a fender bender with someone else, that's not normal behavior to be laughing and to be yelling and laughing. That's we just got out of a bar, we were drinking, drunk person behavior. They smell like cigarettes, they smell like alcohol. If they weren't drunk, they just smelled like that because they were in the bar. That's where they came out of. But there was more than enough reason to believe based on these criteria. And also she didn't have her insurance card on her. So I make that call to the cops. Now if they had acted normal and if they had their insurance card on them, I probably wouldn't have called it 911. But I was confident it was a drunk driver. That was why I made that call. When the cop came up, they had already left the scene. Now one of the girls went back into the bar. I'm not sure who was driving that car, and that's an important thing to know here, because the other girl who fled into the bar could possibly have been driving that car. Now, that's part of the issue here. And so the other girl who went and got an insurance card came back after me and the cop were waiting there, and the cop took 40 minutes to get up there, or an hour, and she came back, she had brushed her teeth, or she had been chewing gum, or it looked like she'd brushed her teeth, made an effort to wash her face or whatever, and was not saying a word when the cop was there, but very vocal, and caught him in that one call, yelling at me, and and laughing about it with the other girl in that drunk girl behavior way. It wasn't a, if you've been in a fender, you shouldn't be yelling, you shouldn't be laughing, yelling. That's behavior that's inappropriate, and is more than enough grounds to suggest, in light of the fact also that I'd visually seen them in that bar drinking. Now the cop name was Tyler Alexander, young guy. And he laughed about it. And he laughed about it on the thing with his radio. With the other guy said, well, let me talk to your supervisor. And I'm like, sir, you need to do a sobriety test here. And I'm like, I've had sobriety. And I said, you can do the sobriety test of me as well as her. This is more than enough grounds. There's bars. It's 9 o'clock at night or 8:35. When this happened, 9:30 when he gets up there. Hey, there's a high likelihood that someone had a drink here. You guys have a history in this area of tons of drinking and driving. And that's what's going on here. You know what I mean? And if it's not, let's just rule it out. And it's a reckless thing, or it's a simple accident mistake, and we can all move forward, and we'll know confidently that we're not putting this girl in danger to herself and other people in the future. Because if this behavior is not corrected, she's going to be drinking and driving, potentially in another instance, and maybe she'll kill herself by doing something reckless and careless. It's better. DUI is not a big thing on someone's record like this. I'd rather have that girl safe. I'd rather have this community safe. And if she was totally sober and just didn't look over her shoulder and made a mistake and backed into me, then we would know that when we did that sobriety test. And I said, hey, do it to me too, because I know I'm sober. I haven't had a drink. You know what I mean? So that's what. And he refused to do it. He said, well, I don't have anything else to do. I'm like, sir, she left the scene. The other girl was missing. She went back into the bar, and came back chewing gum and stuff. I saw her drinking. She came out of the bar prior to backing into me. What more do you need? You know what I mean? All you have to do is one person saying something is enough. And if you're backing across a lane, from the far side of the road across one lane and into the far lane, into a car in the far lane, and not looking over your shoulder, then that's a highly likelihood that you might be impaired to have done that, because that's not a logical thing for a driver to do. Anyone who is looking over their shoulder checking, and if you're not doing that, then chances are there might be reasons for you're not doing that, which is what you're supposed to be doing on the road, moving shoulders. And if you're moving into someone else's vehicle with your car and not looking then you just came out of a bar, yeah, that's enough grounds. Now, cop doesn't want to do it. He wants to laugh about it. I don't want him to be a cop anywhere. Not in that click-attack count. I don't want anywhere in this country again. In the United States, I want him gone. If your supervisor doesn't want to take it seriously, I want them gone. I want them done. I don't want them in a uniform anywhere in the United States again. And I want the training around this particular county, in that particular town, for these law enforcement officers. I want it done better. And I want these people to be held to a higher standard of excellence. And, if you're called and you have to do a trip an hour up there and the person did something reckless and you need to do the sobriety test, that's the period. That's it. And they didn't do it, that's too big of an error because, like I said, in 1 week or 5 years, that driver is going to maybe kill herself or someone else because this pattern of behavior was identified here and it wasn't corrected. Now, again, if this person was sober, which they weren't, but if they were, simple sobriety test, we're done, don't have to worry about it. That's why that test is there. So I was pretty upset with it. I called them back, and I was there on the phone with the insurance company, her insurance company, State Farm, and I was like explaining what was going on, what happened, and said, and they were coming out of the bar across the street from me, and my car was in the same place it was when the cop had come up and everything, and I was sitting in my car, windows up, on the phone with the insurance company, and a kid, pulled up in front of me, blocking my way in a black sports car, was flicking me off and screaming and yelling, completely inebriated. I started to go into the bar at one point after, and I like I said, I have had no drink or anything, and people came out and were screaming and yelling at me, like a half a dozen, maybe a dozen drunk people. You can't come in here. Why? Because they're trying to push back. This girl came back, she parked in a handicap zone in front of that bar, and after the cop left, she went back into that bar and kept drinking. Government Camp Mount, Oregon. Now, at what point is that bar liable too for this situation? Because they should not be serving drinks to someone who just was in an accident right on their front door. And if you know what I mean, there needs to be accountability with this type of scenario moving forward, and they are liable as well for the damages to my car and my loss. And that's it. If someone's in an accident, they came out of your bar and they're drinking, they go back in, they don't need to be served anything. They don't need to be in your bar anymore that night because we don't want drunk drivers on our roads. It's a safety thing. And the rules stipulate that. That's not my personal opinion. The rules and the laws and the regulations stipulate that. So I was pretty upset by the series of events, and it was Steve Steinberg was the supervisor, and it was Tyler Alexander out of Sandy, government camp, Sunnybrook Road, I guess is where their headquarters is, happened on Saturday night on the 8th of September. Incident at maybe 8:35. Cop didn't get up there till 9:30. Fled the scene. The other girl who was in the car, and I don't know if the other girl was the driver here, but both of them were laughing and yelling, was caught audio on the 911 call, went back into the bar and was hidden and never came back when the cop was there, never did anything. And that's important to note. And the other girl went, got her insurance thing, came back, said she only lived 5 minutes away. And I know all those people are just drunks up there. They just go to those bars and they drive 5 minutes back and forth. They're driving drunk. That individual is driving drunk. She's going to continue to drive drunk until she's corrected with it. Maybe she needs to have a breathalyzer thing. I don't know. But she breathes into it before she drives because she wouldn't be drinking and driving if she did that. That's the only way to hold that kind of a person accountable, I think, because that's an addict. And so that's where we're at on this, and that's clear error on behalf of that police officer, because when you make a phone call, a 911 call, and they're refusing to give the insurance information, they came out of the bar, were seen drinking before, and back in, and then one person fled the scene. The other person went to get their insurance version, came back and brushed their teeth and wash. That's like cleaning a crime scene. That's tampering with the moment. She should not have been allowed to leave that scene, and that's important to note here too. If correct procedure had been followed, that person should not have been allowed to leave that scene. And she did, and she changed, washed her face, brushed her teeth, was chewing gum, would not say a word. And the other person who could have been driving the car, I don't know, the other girl hid and went back and forth. But after it all went down, parked in a handicap zone illegally, back in the bar. 3 hours later, I'm on the phone with insurance. People are coming out of the bar, yelling at me across the street, telling people, crazy. You know what I mean? Crazy, disorderly behavior. They're clearly inebriated, and that police officer in that department did not do their job properly that night. Now, maybe they are understaffed for this type of a thing. It's 45 minutes of I don't know how far it is from their office, but maybe they aren't equipped to handle these kind of cases. That is not my responsibility to manage that and to field their complaints to me about that. And that's what they told me. They said, well, we have other things going on. I'm like, I don't care. If you can't have police officers respond to a driver, and when they do respond, they can't simply do a sobriety test, then your department is liable and will be sued in court, and you can give me $20,000 for a new car, and because I don't want my brand new car smashed by a drunk driver, And if you can't do the sobriety test and you don't want to do your job, then why are you in uniform? That's Tyler Alexander.